Construction Board? I'm going to ask each one of the board members if they will identify themselves. I'll start with myself, Ray Malone, Chairman of the Board. Present.
Bob Lowen, representing the subcontracting community. Present.
Adrian Foster, representing the National Association of Women in Construction.
Joseph Maven, representing Minority Contractors Association.
Ed DeSoignier, representing Heavy Constructors.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have a quorum. The meeting will come to order. We've had a roll call. I'm going to omit the minutes since this is a off session and we review the minutes at the regular meeting. We're going to turn it over to Tom Randolph for the review of the project for today. We have one project. If Tom will bring that to the board. Assuming we do have Tom Randolph ready.
Tom, I thought I seen him. Okay, he said he was on.
Perhaps he needs to unmute his microphone.
Oh, Tom, unmute your microphone. This is Kim. Yeah, I showed that he's on and that he's muted.
Okay. If you're in the building with him, you may have to go tell him.
Yeah, I have somebody on the phone with him trying to get him on.
Okay.
Yeah, tell him to call in. I thought he said he was going to call in. Okay.
Hello.
Okay, there he is.
Hello, Thomas. If you have joined us, we've had our roll call. We're now ready for you to present the project for today. It's in your hands.
Okay, project number 81000-803, sewer separation at 31st and Broadway. The estimated cost, $4,553,000. And this is a project presented by the Water Services Department. Is someone here from the Water Department?
Yes, I am. This is Willie Williams with Burns & McDonnell, representing Kansas City Water and the Smart Sewer Program. Would you like me to give a brief overview of the project?
Would you please?
Yes.
Yes, sure. And first of all, I do want to say thank you for having this special meeting for this project and recognizing the critical nature of it. It's regarding schedule. Again, I know you guys didn't have to do that, so I definitely appreciate you having this meeting. But so the project is a sewer separation project. It will cover about 35 acres in the Turkey Creek Basin, and a part of that project will lead into the Penn Valley Park. Again, we'll be separating about 35 acres of combined sewer. There will be a private I&I, which is private inflow and infiltration component, where we disconnect private sources to the combined sewer as well. The project, we're hoping to have NTP sometime in November, and it should last about 18 months. So going to 2022, we will eliminate a diversion structure, and essentially what this is going to do is clean up that Penn Valley Lake as well. So instead of having combined sewer go to the Penn Valley Lake, now it will only be storm sewer that goes there, and it ties back around after the lake into the combined sewer system. But as far as the lake goes, again, that will be cleaned up and only have stormwater going there. There is a green infrastructure component of the project where we will be adding pavers, permeable pavers to the project on 31st Terrace. So that's the green infrastructure component. And I can answer any questions that you guys may have.
Thank you. Okay, HRD, Tom, how do you see the project?
The project leader has it at 16 and 9, and our office agrees with that, with the general construction management side going to the W at 200,000, and availability in the D on the M side, availability and storm sewer improvements on both sides, sanitary sewer improvements 120,000 on the M side, and availability on the W side, and availability and with manhole and open cut repair on both sides. And we're recommending the CIPP for the M side at $150,000. We could not locate any W firm that could do that CIPP work. Sewer lateral replacement, 40,000 for the W side, and there is availability in the on the M side with that. And sewer separation and water main replacement on the M side at 99,000 and 350,000 with availability on the W side. And finally, the green infrastructure and traffic control on the W side at 55 and 95 with availability in both the M side. And we agree with the 16 and 9%. And there are other contracts that were similar type of contracts that were completed or in work. Number one, there's one with the sewer rehab at Brush Creek. Leith and Sons has it. The cost is 7.9. It is currently open. The CUP is 12 and 4 with 5 subcontractors with work in hauling, plumbing, and mechanical. And on contract 1341, diversion structure, Kissick has that. Cost of $7.8 million. Contract is currently open. CUP 14 and 4 with 9 subcontractors who work inside electrical, plumbing, and hauling. East Bottom Pump Station Rehab, number 3, Garney Companies has that. At $13 million. Contract is currently open. The CUP is 12 and 14 with 5 subcontractors who work in electrical, construction, and environmental. And lastly, citywide sewer main rehab FY 2015. That was done by Institufarm Technologies. That contract is closed. It was 4.5 million. It was 5 and 7 with subcontractors in the areas of mechanical, engineering, design, and construction. And that concludes our report.
Thank you. Well, do you have any questions of the Water Department's representative or either HRDs?
Just from our own edification, how many cured in place pipelining contractors do we have? I know you said we had no women-owned companies. How many minority companies do we have?
There was just one that I can find.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Do we normally set goals when only one contractor is available?
That'd be a new rule for me to hear.
I think that was, Bob, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was reference to that project, WSD 1130 citywide. But no, they don't normally set goals when there's only one. I think we call that a set aside.
Correct.
That's against the law. We don't do that.
Of course, there's plenty of availability in other scopes too.
Exactly. Adrian, you had a question?
Yes, I was just going to say, looking at what the history was, and I know that we have some that are active. I find it interesting that the GC on this project, we're anticipating to be, well, no, that's only part of a 200,000 of the GC work is going to go to a WBE. But the one that Garney's on, that's 13 million, that if she's the GC, her goals
No,
are 12.
This isn't Lisa. This is
Oh.
construction, not LNG.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you for that clarification. Very much.
That's okay.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry. All right. But is there any way, because we do have availability, I think for the record, we definitely should remove the 150,000 under the CIPP, just so the record is straight on that, since there's only one MBE.
But I'm not,
Sorry,
are
go
they
ahead.
showing anything? Yeah, I think they're showing 0. If I'm not mistaken, is that right?
No, it's showing 150,000.
It's showing 150,
Okay.
Franklin.
Yeah. So we need to
What's-
make sure on the record that whatever this is, that even HRD doesn't recommend us putting that 150,000 in that line item, just because of the one business MBE. But
Okay.
and that would reduce that 16% by a little bit, not a whole lot.
No,
But
it
I don't know
shouldn't
if it
reduce it at all.
necessarily, it
Right
shouldn't
above
reduce it at all. Yeah, there's
You've got
plenty of availability.
and open cut.
Yeah, you don't want to
parking.
do that. Yeah, you don't want to do that. You just want to say that we're not using that. We have to use, now this is not a guideline in which you have to go by these.
Mr.
But
Chair,
if the availability is there.
I completely understand that. I just, anyone who is looking at it though may have a perception that that was something, and I just don't want that perception out there.
Oh, I agree 100%. Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that was what the question was. If Mr. Lohman had mentioned if there's only one, we shouldn't be using that. So if that could be taken off, but I don't think that we need to reduce the goals if we take that out because there are other availability. So I agree with you.
Okay, great. So, but I do want to make these goals a little bit, they are a little too seesaw on one side than the other. 16% seems very high to a 9%. And so I was wondering from the department who set these, or from William there, what they were thinking and why there is such a unevenness, if you will.
William, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Okay, sorry. With a design professional who puts this together, usually they'll go through each scope that they have listed and see where the availability is and how much money they can distribute out. And so I can't say that that they set it that way on purpose. I think it was more so of a knowledge of availability of M's versus W's, but certainly would be, no opposition at all to if the board sees that there's more availability in W's in areas that we weren't aware of, then to increase the percentage there that would make sense to us.
I guess one last question, sorry, for HRD is just because what Joe had brought up in regards to the CIPP, is there's more than one availability, and I don't have my little cheat sheet with me today, so I apologize. But I'm going to go ahead and assume that there are more than 2 in each of these line items for availability in these specific scopes. I'm pretty sure there are, other than the one that Jim.
That is correct.
Excellent.
Now, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Ed Deswanier. I took a hard look at this project, and I think a couple of things. First of all, if you're familiar with the 31st and Broadway area, what happens with any kind of a project like this in that general area, you're talking about potentially a nightmare situation occurring at various peak traffic times where you could have traffic backed up clear past Southwest Traffic Way or all the way down Penway as people are trying to access Midtown. And it seems to me the type of project that a general contractor, whether a heavy or a mechanical, will want to have as much control as possible over certain key items to it. And having said that, I have to question the idea of putting 200,000 from general construction management over into a subcategory just because it looks nice in a way. The other thing was the question about the cured in place pipe lining, which tends to be a specialty, which shows up on our sheet nevertheless. And if you remove both of those items from this calculation, what you actually get down to are goals, realistic goals, let's call them, of 9 and 4, which I think are a bit low. But I'm inclined to set the bar at a certain level and hope that the contractor may find other areas here to sub out to minority firms, female firms. And my comfort level realistically on this thing is to have goals around 10 and 5.
Okay.
I've got a comment.
Anybody else want to chime in?
It's a comment I want to make also. We can't just count numbers. At some point, we have to make a calculation of capability. Ed, you're entirely right about this being a nightmare sort of job. Just counting availability without some calculation on capability, it's been my experience that we don't have the same amount of capability and availability on the WBE side for heavy and highway kinds of activities. So I don't think we can just count numbers and say that because it's just not there. When we looked at the other jobs, Ed, none of them were 16. And I have some concern, Thomas, whether or not the projects you cited were germane to this one. In 3 of them you mentioned electrical. There's no electrical here.
That's right.
And I don't know if they necessarily helped us in setting the goals. And I believe 12 was the highest on the minority side of any of those projects.
14.
This is going to be a tough project.
Well, Joe, and here's how I look at this thing, okay? So the general contractor may decide to sub out the entire manhole construction and rehabilitation, okay?
Yes.
So I think in terms of availability there, that's an issue. That's a realistic thing. May want to sub out part of the stormwater improvements component. But I think when we look at these numbers, and I think if we set a baseline of 10 and 5 and leave it to the contractor to expand out what is subcontracted out, it becomes a much more realistic goal to put out there on the street for people to bid on. And so, I mean, I'll just tell you, I'm going to make a motion just to start this off by.
Wait, let's make sure we get all of our discussion in. I agree to make the motion, but
that's
does anybody have anything else? Okay. Anybody has anything else they want to add before Ed put his motion out?
I do. This is Adrian. I would just say that when Joe was talking about there's not that many WBEs in construction management. I do know that we have Kathy Phillips with Realm Construction, that they do that. And we also have, oh, I just lost it. We have Gunther Construction also. And I had one more. But I understand this is, I'm actually in that area a lot over there. And my church is over there. So I understand we never had a good practice of, or even wanted to split a GC up like that. But because there is other additional availability, and not only availability but capability on the WBE side, I would just like Ed to consider before he makes his goal, if he would turn that W up a little bit higher to like 10 and 7, just because we do have the capability, and my brain's not on that sharp right now. I apologize. And that's all I would say about that. But we do have WBEs that have that capability.
Just for clarification, I was not referring to just construction management. I was talking about heavy and highway scopes, those all the way down the line. And while we do have WBEs with the capability, we don't have the numbers we have on the minority side. Is the only point I was trying to make.
Thank you, Joe, for that clarification.
Okay. All right. Well, Ed, you're about to make a motion. If there's no other discussion, I'll turn it back to Ed Deswanier for his motion.
Okay. I'm going to move. We set goals on this project at 10 and 5.
I second that motion.
It's a motion on the floor to accept goals at 10 and 5, and has been second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Okay, there are 3 ayes and 4 ayes and 1 no. Ayes have it. That concludes the project for today. Is there any other business?
Well, Mr. Chairman, could I follow up on something? Adrian, I understand what you're saying in terms of Realm Construction and who else did you mention? Gunther, what have you. It seems to me that the general construction management number looks to me to include a lot of earthwork in here. Okay. And the general's going to want to control the bulk of that.
Agree.
Now, on these other items that are there, I would hope that we come in with higher numbers. That's always my goal. I think what my whole approach to this thing is to set something, has always been to set goals out that are more realistic, leaving it to the contractor. If the contractor wants to portion out more sections of that work, to leave it to the contractor's decision in terms of how they prosecute the job. So
Thank you for that. I think that's
Only thing that I have.
important. I'm sorry.
It's
I have
entirely
one.
It's likely that green infrastructure and the traffic control will be subbed out also.
Yeah. See, I think that traffic control is going to probably be bigger than 95,000.
It's a busy
I'm
spot.
sure it will. That's going to be taking place during the winter months.
Oh, yeah.
And so you're going to have a lot more traffic control than that. But let me also add this. If you look at the breakdown that HRD put out, I think they did an excellent job on availability, showing where there was chosen 16%. But availability, there was a lot more availability that was shown, I think, to have been able to support, their goal. But the goal setting is up to the board. How you see it based upon your familiarity with the industry itself, how you see the availability and the contractor's ability to bring in the product. And at the same time, also keeping in mind that there are minority and women firms that are capable and want to be able to work also. So with that in mind, if there's nothing else before this board, our next board meeting is going to be August the 13th at 2 p.m. If there's nothing else, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Adrian,
Thanks,
Adrian,
everybody.
good luck in the
Thank you.
election.
Yep, good luck.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay safe.